Today we're going meta. I think. Welcome to Comic Misconceptions, a show that takes you into detail about the things you think you know about comics. I'm your host, Scott Niswander, and today we're going to be talking about the times when the real world crosses over into the comic book world, and it happens actually quite a lot, so I'm not going to be able to go over every single instance, but I will be glad to share with you some of my favorites, starting with last week's trivia challenge, which was Stan Lee was once saved by Spider-Man while he was hosting what long-running television show? You guys had a surprising number of answers for this one, and I suspect that it was probably because I worded the question wrong. What I meant to say was that there is a comic in which Stan Lee is hosting a long-running TV show, and then Spider-Man shows up to save the day when things start going haywire. I hope that clears it up. SkullKid20999 saw through my terrible phrasing and said that it was SNL. That is correct. In Marvel Team Up number 74 from October 1978, Spider-Man teams up with a cast of SNL hosted by Stan the Man Lee. Also bonus points for Statler and Waldorf in the audience as well. This isn't just an homage to Stan Lee, but it is the actual Stan Lee, and while Spider-Man is in the audience, he talks about how it's a well-known fact that he is the publisher of Marvel Comics, even going into detail about what it's like to write for The Thing. Speaking of The Thing, who we know as a staple of the Fantastic Four, the original Marvel bullpen became the Fantastic Four in Marvel's What If number 11 from that same year and even same month of October 1978. Coincidence? I have no idea. Just as The Thing is a staple of the Fantastic Four, Jack Kirby is a staple of comic books, especially Marvel, where he helped give us some of the greats like Hulk and Thor and Iron Man, X-Men, and, of course, the Fantastic Four, or kind of a running theme in this episode, if you haven't noticed already. You may recall this scene from Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Invitation, sir.
I should be on that list.
Name?
Stan Lee.
Yeah, nice try, buddy.
No,
Nice try.
really,
Nice
I'm
try.
Stan Lee.
That, of course, is Stan Lee, but this cameo is kind of atypical of his normal cameos that he does. In fact, both the Fantastic Four movies, the cameos that he does are kind of a little bit different. Usually he's just some random guy in the background as part of a throwaway joke. In the first movie, he actually played a character from the comics, Willie Lumpkin, and in the second movie, as you saw, he is seen trying to get into the wedding of Reed Richards and Sue Storm, but being denied entrance. This actually comes straight from Fantastic Four Annual number 3 from 1965, in which the same thing happens, but with Jack Kirby as well. They both get denied entrance to the wedding, so they walk off and talk about how they'll show them when they start writing the next issue. One time in Fantastic Four number 511 from 2004, Mr. Fantastic kills the Thing. It's a long story. Thing was possessed. Wasn't that long, as it turns out. So they end up having to literally travel to heaven to get Ben's soul back, and while they are in heaven, they are invited to meet God. Only God turns out to actually be Jack freaking Kirby, who draws the Thing back to life because he's cooler than you. And also more bonus points for the phone call by Stan Lee. So obviously Marvel likes to do this a lot, but what about DC? Well, I'm glad that you asked. They actually did something really awesome in Animal Man number 26 from 1990. This is one of those comics that I just love. I mean, look at how meta this one panel is. Grant Morrison, who was writing Animal Man at the time, put himself into the comic to talk to the character that he was writing about. It was the last issue of his run, so he wanted to talk to Animal Man about all the stuff that he put him through, while also saying really funny things like how you put action at the beginning of a comic to keep people interested, or how heroes stay so young because they save time traveling just by cutting to the next panel. There's also shots of random things in the background because Morrison says he wanted their conversation to be more interesting to draw. Seriously guys, this comic is awesome. I loved every single panel. Even when it got a little bit preachy, he acknowledged that it got a little bit preachy. So I definitely recommend giving it a read, and hey, just pick up Animal Man for the New 52 even if that's something you're interested in. I am loving it so far. It's so good. And I want you guys to know that I had a ton more to talk about. We just don't have time to get into all of it today. So if you have your favorite instance of what I guess I'm calling meta comics, then please put it in the comments below, and I would love to address it on next episode. But now it's time for the weekly trivia challenge, which again, I realize probably shouldn't be called the weekly trivia challenge because we do it every other week. That was a good episode. But next week I want to try something kind of interesting. We're not going to tackle a specific character or a plot or anything as specific as that. We're going to tackle about comics themselves. Things that you didn't know had names have names. Like, for example, this thing. So this week's trivia challenge is, what is it called when profanity is replaced by symbols in comics? This is a pretty simple one to Google, but we go by the honor system here, guys. So if you know the answer or want to leave your best guess, you can do so in the comments below. If you're right, you could be featured on the show next week. So get started on the weekly trivia challenge. All right, and that's it for this episode. As you can tell, a little bit of a scenery change from just a couple seconds ago. What's happening? I wanted to fill you in on some things that are gonna be happening with NerdSync. First of all, we have a Kickstarter going, so it's almost over and we've already reached our goal, but we do need to reach over that a little bit because of Kickstarter fees and everything. So if you wanna be generous and give $1, give $5, that would be really helpful and really awesome. And also, we are going to be changing up a little bit about what NerdSync is going to be about in the near future. Some new shows. I know I feel like I always promise new shows and then we never deliver, but we have some cool ideas that we want to bring to you guys. And part of the thing is the schedule that we're going to be doing is going to be a little bit off for a while because I do need to focus on schoolwork. So it's not gonna be a very consistent schedule of Comic Misconceptions and other shows. So bear with us in that. Hopefully by the summer we can have a more regular schedule of things coming out. So thank you for your patience in this kind of time where we're testing stuff out. And of course, if you like what you saw today, please subscribe to NerdSync Productions right down there. Hit that big sexy subscribe button. You can also follow us on Twitter at NerdSync. You can follow me on Twitter at Niswander. I don't know why you would, but that's an option if you want to do that. And we'll see you guys right here sometime in the future for another episode of Comic Misconceptions and more things that you thought you knew about comics. See ya. Let's get this petition going, you guys. Star Fox in Avengers 3 with a hashtag in front of it. We'll come up with a better hashtag if there's time, but somebody has to get the ball rolling, guys, and that's gonna be us. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Star Fox, who is this? He must have some sort of crazy power to be on the Avengers, right? Crazy. I will grant you powers.